Hello and welcome to Real Reviews. My name is Jameson Rabbit, and the man seated next to me only bathes in marshmallow fluff. His name is Mike Roth.
Yeah, and then I wash off with ants.
Ooh.
Yeah, they are so happy.
It's very exfoliating, I bet.
It is. So my house is just nuts with all the ants. So. I happen to have a lot of marshmallow muff.
Never mind the ants. I've got a very strict routine I go through. Yeah, that's good. That's why I don't come over anymore.
Yeah, well, no one does.
So this week we have a couple of movies on the marquee, and then we also are going to get into talking about some of the movies looking ahead at 2018, movies that we are really anticipating for this upcoming year.
Yeah.
Before we get to the fun list stuff, though, we got to get into some movies.
All right.
So I'm going to lead us off, sir, with what I have here on the marquee in front of me. The first movie is Winchester, the new movie brought to us by the Spierig brothers. Michael and Peter Spierig wrote and directed this movie. You know those guys as the brothers who wrote and directed Jigsaw last year.
That was so
in my
great.
opinion, the worst movie of 2017. And they started off with this movie in 2018. Winchester is based on a true story, though. Helen Mirren playing Sarah Winchester. She's the heiress to the Winchester rifle fortune. Her husband's dead. She is a grieving widow. She lives in this luxurious mansion, which she has incessantly under construction, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. This house, it has rooms being added on. It's 7 stories tall, hundreds of rooms in it, and it's built in a way that doesn't seem to make any kind of sense. We find out she designs the rooms through this kind of automatic writing at night where she kind of just rolls her eyes back and designs a room and boom, add that on.
That was a little hokey.
And so you also have a man played by Jason Clarke, Dr. Eric Price, who is a kind of a fraudulent psychiatrist who is brought in by the members of the board of the Winchester Foundation to declare the widow Winchester unfit to run the company so that they can take control from her. So he's kind of brought in just go in there and just make a diagnosis that she's unfit and out. He is addicted to laudanum.
Yeah.
He is an addict. So he starts seeing things in this house, and we find out that this Winchester mansion is full of ghosts. Ghosts appear to everyone at all times. Now, as I say, it's an interesting premise because this is an actual mansion. She was an actual person. Dr. Price is not a real person. He was made up by the Spierigs to try and make this interesting, quote unquote.
And the whole story is also made up because I know you've seen the documentary.
The documentary is really interesting.
The documentary, yeah.
Yeah, and so what this is she's haunted by these ghosts who she considers to be the victims who have been murdered by the Winchester repeating rifle.
Yep.
And they are there. And so she's building rooms almost as a prison or a place to house all of these spirits.
Yeah.
She is haunted by all of these. And I have so many issues with this movie. This movie I was actually looking forward to.
Yeah, same here.
Because the documentary, this true story is interesting.
Helen
Mirren's great.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm in. The Spierigs, unfortunately, dip their hands in. They're like, no, what we need to do is, first off, you have a really interesting character played by an amazing actress. So let's make this movie all about some guy that we made up. Let's give him the narrative and not her.
And
why are we doing this?
And he really wasn't an interesting character. They try to make him interesting right away where he's at a house of ill repute.
Right.
And he's doing drugs, and you're thinking, wow, we got a early day Jim Morrison here. And he did not act in a way where he was interesting. Even when he was doing all these crazy things, he was not a crazy person.
Yeah, there's zero subtleties to this movie.
No.
The house itself, which should be a character unto itself, I thought it missed the mark. They didn't quite capture the mood I was looking for.
That was the one thing I did like about it because she's always building, and back then they didn't have spacious rooms and stuff, and they kind of kept it to scale of what would actually be a room back there. And I thought it was interesting that you had all these little confined, claustrophobic little places. I thought that was like one of the very little redeeming points of this movie.
They took this interesting story, they kind of just turned it into just a boring haunted house movie.
Yeah.
And took something that was really intriguing and they could have done so much with and made it boring.
But it's not just a story. The whole movie was actually boring. They couldn't actually achieve a jump scare.
Right.
All of them were just ill-timed, where you were like, oh, that was the jump scare I should have been jumping at, but the way you shot
You missed it.
I did not jump. The only good one is the one that they actually played in the trailer.
Right.
So you knew that was coming.
Saw the train coming down the tracks. Yeah, it was disappointing. I know you were also excited for this movie.
I was really excited for this movie. The majority of the movie was extremely boring. Of course, they bring it up to, okay, this is a horror movie cliche thing where we have to have this grand finale. At that point, it felt a little bit interesting. It felt like our last week's throwback 13 Ghosts.
But it was just way too little too late.
Very little too late. And again, it's a cliche of all the movies. It doesn't really make that movie good. And a lot of the things just didn't make sense. They were like, okay, this seems eerie and spooky. Let's just throw this in there and let's hope it works. And it really didn't.
So what did you end up giving Winchester?
I gave it a 1.5, but give those brothers a hand. They did raise my score from last year when they did Jigsaw.
Yeah, I suppose. I gave Jigsaw a 0. They also got 1.5 out of me. Congratulations. You took a great actress and a great story, and you made a turd. Great job, Spearings. Keep making them.
I wish we could just keep on talking about the good parts of the real story, but we're not going to do that.
Let's move in. We had something interesting come out this week. During the Super Bowl, a commercial came for a movie that was possibly going to be in theaters at the end of April.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, this movie's on Netflix. As soon as the game is over, what are we talking about?
We're talking about Cloverfield Paradox. I was really looking forward to this movie. This probably would have made on my top 10 list.
Yeah.
Again, this is a third installment of a film that doesn't really go with the other ones. I mean, it's all in the same universe.
It's an anthology.
But that's one of the things I loved about Cloverfield 1 and 2. Is that they were completely different genres of the same thing. In this one, it's more of a sci-fi horror. So it's how the Cloverfield thing happened in the first place. How did these monsters get onto the Earth? And obviously, it has to do with dimensional change. We have a space station that's hovering around Earth that is trying to find a way to power our planet because we're quickly running out of energy.
The title is the Cloverfield Paradox. If you don't know, it's right
there. Hey, cool. And so as they're trying to figure this out, they're trying to get this machine running. They're going for the Hail Mary because it's been taking too long and Earth needs its energy. They hit the switch and something goes horribly wrong. What happened is they pretty much tore a rift in the parallel dimensions. They end up going to a different Earth. That's where the paradox happens, and things are creepily happening to their space station as it's falling apart, and they got to figure out how to get back home. I don't want to ruin too much about this, but I thought it was interesting, but it did break my idea of what the timeline was for Cloverfield, which I didn't really care for too much. I did find the excitement to be there. Some of the paradoxes were off also. I can't figure out how switching dimensions would allow an arm to function without a brain, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I did find it entertaining. I really did.
My issue with this movie is I think it's brilliant marketing. The first two movies I thought were incredibly original. This movie was not original in any way. I thought this movie followed in every trope of every space horror movie. I mean, it followed in the lines of Alien, Event Horizon.
That's what I was saying.
And I mean, this felt like, to me, it felt like a weaker version of the movie we saw last year, Life, which was a mediocre version of previous movies that followed in the same. I mean, you have things coming out of bodies. You have a lot of, so I think it took a lot of like that and Event Horizon, jammed itself together. And for me, the thing that I love about this franchise is the originality of it. And how it draws me in. And this one, I felt like 95% of it, I'm like, I've seen all this. I've seen all of this. Come on. It was just, come on, make something happen.
It was very heavy Event Horizon for me. Especially when it came down to the weird things that would not have made sense if there was just a dimensional thing going on. Which, added excitement, added a little humor, but it didn't quite make sense.
I was
and
expecting
I wanted
a lot out of this because writing has been the key, especially the last one, 10 Cloverfield. I thought the writing was really interesting.
And I love the memes that came out after this. So I'm going to let everybody know. The very first Cloverfield, there was a huge, complex hype up to it to before its release. Second one was kind of a surprise. They announced it, and then like a month later, it was out. And this one, they announce it, and it's there that night.
It's at your house tonight.
So the next movie, the meme says JJ is just going to throw the Blu-ray player with the
through your
movie
window.
through your window.
Absolutely.
That would be a surprise. I would love that surprise.
Okay, ultimately, what did you end up giving the Cloverfield Paradox?
I gave it a 3. I thought it was a decent movie, even though I wish it wasn't part of the Cloverfield universe.
Yeah, I agree. I think if this movie wasn't a Cloverfield movie, it would be forgettable.
Yeah.
I think if it would have gone into theaters, it would have gotten trashed.
Probably.
I think it was smart how they did it and put it on Netflix.
Yeah.
But I felt like I'd seen this movie for the most part. And so I gave it 2 stars. There's some interesting bits to it, but I wanted a lot more out of this.
There you go.
But if you want to see it, it's on Netflix. All right. We have some time here to really dig in. We are going to be talking about the movies of the upcoming year that we are interested in. There's so many movies. I had trouble paring down my list. Some of these movies have release dates. Some of them are tentative release dates. But I want to see where you're at with this. So I'm going to let you start our top 10 most anticipated movies for the upcoming year. We can look back on our disappointments episode and see how this worked.
You know, we should save this for next year, so when we can say, oh, look at our most anticipated movies. Were we really good on that?
Yeah. All right, start us off with your number 10, sir.
Number 10, The Black Klansman. You got Spike Lee directing a film that is produced by Jordan Peele. I think Jordan Peele really knocked it out of the park last year. I'm excited for this, and the story sounds really good. It's about a detective who infiltrates the KKK.
It's a real story, too.
But with a twist, the detective is a black man. So it's like, wow.
And it's Denzel's son in the lead role, which I love.
That is awesome.
John David Washington.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be really cool.
I agree. My number 10 is the only superhero movie that I have on my list.
Yeah.
It is a movie that the trailer just dropped today as we record it. I'm talking about Venom. Director Ruben Fleischer. This movie comes out October 5th. The main thing is I love Venom as a great villain.
He is a great villain.
Really cool if done right. I've been waiting for him to be done right forever.
Yep.
And the cast. You've got Tom Hardy, and you've got Michelle Williams, you've got Woody Harrelson, you've got Riz Ahmed. I'm in. I'm really excited for it. That's a great cast. So I'm excited. That's my number 10.
I'm going to tell you how I'm excited about it later.
All right. Well, tell me about your number 9.
My number 9 is The Predator. This one looks like it's going to be done right. I was super burned on Aliens versus Predator, which you think just writes itself, but no. And they made many of those. Those were all terrible.
Yep.
But I'm looking forward to this one.
Can we get another good Predator movie?
I'm hoping
Can we
so.
just
if they don't make me happy, I'm done. I'm done with this
I agree
universe.
with you. So my number 9 is a movie that if they had kept the director from the original, this would be much higher up on my list. But director Ryan Coogler left. We have Stephen Caple Jr. moving in. This is Creed 2. The sequel to Creed comes out November 21st. We bring back everyone else. Dolph Lundgren's in. We've got Drago Jr. in here as well. Creed is going to fight Drago Jr. This is what I jokingly asked for when Creed came out.
Yeah.
Was okay. Now he's got to get redemption on Creed or on Drago. We got it.
Is this what they're going to do with all the new Rocky movies?
They're
just going to take the
Clubber
old...
Lang next.
Oh, wait.
Watch out, Clubber Lang. This is written by Sly, which I always enjoy. Like I say, if Ryan Coogler, who has been working on Black Panther, which looks incredible, if he had stuck with this, it would be much higher than number 9. But Creed 2 I'm looking forward to.
All right.
Your number 8, sir.
My number 8, Won't You Be My Neighbor? Tom Hanks as Fred Rogers. I mean, come on.
Won't You Be My Neighbor is the documentary, isn't it? About Fred Rogers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it just came
I'm
out at
totally
Sundance. No, I was impressed when I saw it on your list because that's the documentary that I'm most looking forward to this year.
Okay.
I don't believe the Tom Hanks one comes out until the following year because they're just now making
Well,
it.
I'm still looking forward to this because I love Fred Rogers.
I hear it's a great
so
documentary.
Awesome. Yeah.
I watched a Speedy Delivery documentary last year.
Really?
That was starring. It was all about the guy who played Mr. McFeely.
After the show, you're going to tell me that.
It's pretty great.
Okay.
All right. My number 8. My number 8 is another sequel, but it is a sequel that I've been waiting for 14 years. Director Brad Bird is back, and we have Incredibles 2. It comes out June 15th. I love the first Incredibles movie. I've been asking for this sequel as they pump out crappy sequels to other Pixar movies. Like, why do we need a third Cars movie? Just give me Incredibles 2. The whole reason was Brad Bird, as he's gone off to be successful making other films, kept saying, not making Incredibles unless I have a script that is equal to or better than the original. I'm not going to make a knockoff. and he swears that this one is of value, equal value to the original. So I'm excited for that.
All right.
That's my number 8.
Very cool.
Your number 7.
Venom. You already talked about it.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it looks fantastic. Venom is a great character. We should have had Venom if they didn't push this on Sam Raimi so hard and he was forced to make a bad movie.
Tom Hardy instead of Topher Grace as Venom is an infinite upgrade.
But when Sam Raimi did it, he was like, no, I don't want to do this,
You want
and
Venom?
you're going to get crud.
Here's your Venom. You said you wanted him.
So you couldn't do a Venom movie, and you'd think it would be dead. But this would be like the first where they're going to be concentrating on someone who is a typically villain.
Yeah, I mean, we have Tom Holland coming in a small role as Spider-Man from the Amazing Spider-Man universe, but yeah, this is focused on a villain, and a cool villain at that.
With Tom Hardy.
I'm in. I'm excited for it. So my number 7 is a movie called Captive State. It comes out August 17th from director Rupert Wyatt. It stars John Goodman, Vera Farmiga, Madeline Brewer. It is centered in Chicago a decade after an alien takeover. Aliens have come in, occupied us, and the movie explores lives on both sides, both people who were collaborators with the aliens, who were like, yeah, aliens are here, yeah, what can I do? And the dissidents. And it sounds interesting to me, and it's got John Goodman in it. And so I'm in.
I'm surprised Vera Farmiga, she's like in everything now.
Yeah.
She is working hard.
She is. She's a great actress. I really like her. And so when I saw those names and the plot, I'm in. I like it. So it puts it at number 7 for me.
All right.
What do you have, sir?
Number 6, Isles of Dogs. I'm sure this has to make your list.
Isle of the Dogs. You'll hear about it in a minute.
This is looks like a fantastic movie. I love the Fabulous Mr. Fox, and I've been waiting for something like that to come out again. My wish is coming true. This looks like a fantastic film. It's going to be quirky. It's going to be pulling at the heartstrings.
It's Wes Anderson.
I'm going to cry. I'm going to laugh. It's going to be great.
I was so happy when I saw the trailer for this recently. Like, yeah, this is... Oh, what a cast of voices, too.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'll talk about it in a minute. But my number 6 is a movie that you mentioned just a few minutes ago, The Predator. It comes out August 3rd. The reason I'm really excited for it mostly is, I've been burned by a lot of sequels.
Yeah.
Shane Black is in this, is the writer and director. He's done the Lethal Weapon movies, so many action movies. He was in the original Predator, and he swears that he's going to bring it back. This is a sequel to Predator. He's like, forget a bunch of other stuff.
Did he do Predator 2?
I don't believe he did it.
Good.
No.
I'm glad.
I think at that time he went to go do Lethal Weapon.
All right,
he
cool.
Wrote,
He
direct,
went on to
wrote,
better
wrote that
things.
one. But also the cast is really interesting. Keegan-Michael Key, Jacob Tremblay. Trevante Rhodes is the lead guy in this movie. He was the main guy in Moonlight. Sterling K. Brown, Thomas Jane, Olivia Munn. It's got a really cool cast. I'm hopeful, but like you, if I get burned again, I'm done.
Yep.
I'm done with them.
I'm not doing this again. You're not going to get my hopes up.
No, sir. All right, top 5 time.
All right. This is going to sound bad. Alita, Battle Angel. Yeah, the trailers look terrible.
Okay.
Absolutely
So
terrible.
it's in your top 5.
But it's in my top 5. Way back in the 90s when I started watching anime for the first time, there wasn't a lot of options, and Battle Angel came out, and it was a superb anime. And it just kind of ended, and I never got any more, and they kept on talking about making a movie. It's been almost 30 years I've been waiting for this movie, and no matter how bad those trailers look, I'm still looking forward to this movie.
Undeterred.
I am undeterred. I am looking forward to it immensely.
You can tell me it's terrible. I don't care.
I will believe it when I review it.
Wow, I love that. So my number 5 is one that you mentioned earlier. It is The Black Klansman. Like you said, Spike Lee and Jordan Peele together. This cast, I mean, outside of John David Washington, you have Corey Hawkins, Adam Driver, who I love, Topher Grace, Paul Walter Hauser, who I loved in I, Tonya this past year. I thought he was so funny in that. And they say it's the true story of this African-American law enforcement officer who goes underground, not only just successfully infiltrates the KKK, becomes becomes the leader of their local chapter of the KKK.
That is so crazy.
It's amazing. So I'm excited for this. This one doesn't have an official release date just yet, but yeah, it sounds pretty great.
The True Detective should get like an Academy Award. I mean, really. I mean, that must be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you number 4?
Number 4, Mortal Angels. We got Peter Jackson doing another huge, fantastic spiel. It looks fantastic. You got these cities. All the rich people are on these cities that are on like huge moving tanks. It's a mixture of like, looks like magic and tech and steampunk, and I am looking forward to this.
Nice.
I'm hoping it's not like The Hobbit.
That's Mortal Engines. Look at that. There it is. All right, so my number 4 is a film that's going to be on Netflix. And it is The Irishman. It is Martin Scorsese's next film. He's been working on for a while. Kind of a dream thing. And it's got a kind of a dubious release date. At first, it was supposed to be 2019. Now they say it's going to come out in 2018. I'm expecting it probably end of the year, Christmas time. But this cast, you have Martin Scorsese directing it. You have Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Joe Pesci, Harvey Keitel, Jesse Plemons, who I really enjoy, Anna Paquin, Ray Romano. Like, whoa,
oh, where
right.
did that come from?
Yeah, right.
Well, he did a great job last year.
He was in Big Sick.
Yeah.
Bobby Cannavale, who I really enjoy. It's the true story of Frank Sheeran, who is the mob hitman who claims to be the guy who assassinated Jimmy Hoffa. Jimmy Hoffa is going to be played by Al Pacino. Robert De Niro is Frank Sheeran. Joe Pesci's back making movies. Like I haven't seen him since Gone Fishing.
Yeah.
It's been a while, and he reunites with De Niro and Scorsese. I'm so pumped for this.
So you say it's guaranteed to come out this year? Not really.
Everything I've read recently says it's a 2018 movie.
Okay.
They're still in production right now. You know, weird things notwithstanding. Hopefully the end of 2018.
Because that did remind me that there was a movie I wanted on my list, but I already know it's got pushed to 2019. So
next year's list,
I can't
maybe.
mention it. So, yeah,
all right,
next year.
You're number 3, sir.
My number 3 is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Again,
That looks cool.
It looks so cool. I think there's a little bit of framing issue. I hope that kind of clear that up a little bit. But otherwise, it is sleek. It has that whole comic book feel, but still not flat.
Did we say this is an animated?
It's an animated film,
and we broke away from Peter Parker.
Exactly. We're going back to
Miles Morales.
Yes, thank you, Miles Morales, and he is the character I wanted in last year's Spider-Man, and we're going to get him this year in such a sleek looking. And I also read all the comics that have to deal with the Spider-Verse, so I'm pretty much geeking out about this.
I'm so happy they finally gave us Miles Morales.
And I hope it catches on so we could get away from Peter Parker a little bit. I love Peter
Peter's
Parker,
got a great story, but
We've
There's
done
some
it.
other cool stories in there.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, that's a good one. So my number 3 comes from director Damien Chazelle, who, you know, I believe he won for Best Director for La La Land a couple years ago. I mean, he's an accomplished guy. It is First Man, comes out October 12th, starring Ryan Gosling as Neil Armstrong. This is a movie about NASA's mission to put a man on the moon. Kind of focuses on Neil Armstrong, but also deals with just the whole time period of like 1961 to 69. This cast, I think, is great. Ryan Gosling, Claire Foy, Corey Stoll, Kyle Chandler, Jason Clarke, John Barenthal, who I always love, as all of the astronauts that we know and love. I mean, if you ever watched like The Right Stuff, kind of similar. We're going to deal with those same guys. Rough time period, but I love Damien Chazelle, Ryan Gosling together. So far, I've enjoyed what they've done. So.
I smell our throwback already coming.
Yeah,
one. Yeah.
It could be an easy one. So that puts it you're number 2.
Number 2, Annihilation. It looks fantastic. It just
which is Annihilation? Oh, is that the Natalie Portman one?
Yeah,
that's coming soon. Too,
yeah,
isn't
that's
it?
coming really soon. Same director who did Ex Machina.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Natalie Portman, she doesn't really pick bad roles. I mean, she's
got a pretty good hit ratio.
Yeah, so
this looks interesting to me.
It looks really cool. I have a feeling this is going to probably be one of my favorite sci-fis of the year.
Yeah. And I think we have like 2 weeks it's out.
I know.
You don't have to wait long.
I know. And my excitement.
We'll be able to judge it real quick.
I'm right at the cliff on that one.
All right, my number 2 is a movie that you'd mentioned. It is Wes Anderson's new film, Isle of Dogs. Speaking of coming soon, this movie comes out March 23rd. The first movie of the year that I'm super pumped for. Yeah, and it's just this voice cast, Frances McDormand, Scarlett Johansson, Greta Gerwig, Bryan Cranston, Ed Norton, Tilda Swinton, Bill Murray, Jeff Goldblum, like dozens, all of the people you know and love from his films. And it has that great stop motion adventure. It's dogs, it's Japan, and dogs have been thrown onto this island because of this canine flu, and this young boy shows up looking for his dog, and it's going to be incredible. I just know. I mean, one of my favorite directors in the world, and this looks great.
If it's anything like Fabulous Mr. Fox, I'm thinking it's probably going to be nominated for an Oscar. We don't even have to see any other movies. It's just going to be nominated.
All right. We have time for your number 1 most anticipated movie, sir.
Well, number 1 is a solo movie.
I see what you did there.
So, yeah, of course, the trailers just came out Sunday, and I'm a big Star Wars nerd, and one of my favorite Star Wars characters is Lando Calrissian, which totally set me up that year we went to Comic-Con and I got to talk to Billy D. Williams.
Big fan.
I just went, oh.
We'll find that footage again.
But yeah, so Donald Glover, he's playing.
He looks
Lando.
great.
He looks great in it, and Han Solo movie. I mean, how can this go wrong?
Oh man, I'm really worried about it though, because that Alden Ehrenreich, I'm not sure if he's going to pull this off. I'm worried.
Yeah.
I've only seen him in 2 movies.
I
only liked him in 1 of them.
Disney's not going to let anybody screw up their franchise. I mean, Star
I'm
Wars.
I'm really excited, but I'm also really worried about it because I wasn't sold by the trailer. I mean, they've gone through directors, they've gone through scripts. I'm worried. I want this to be great, though. We'll see.
I'm sure it's going to be all right.
We're going to be talking about it soon. Comes out in May.
It's not going to be bad.
Okay, fair enough.
I can promise you that.
I'm going to take your word for it then. Good. So my number 1 movie, the most anticipated movie for 2015, is a movie called The Women of Marwen. It is a new movie from Robert Zemeckis. It comes out November 21st. It stars Steve Carell, Leslie Mann, Gwendolyn Christie, Janelle Monáe, Diane Kruger. It's based on a documentary called Marwen Call from director Jeff Malmberg, and it's about this man, Mark Hogenkamp. And it's my favorite documentary ever. It's a documentary that I've probably watched 30 times. And it's an incredible story, and I'm incredibly nervous for this movie because I think it's an incredible story. And the documentary itself is a great journey, and so part of me is going, there's no way this can live up to it.
Yeah.
It can only disappoint.
Like Winchester.
Only disappoint. It has a high risk of failure in my mind,
yeah.
But I'm really excited for it because I love the story so much. So,
it's
The Women of Marwen, we'll see. I'm nervous thinking about it.
If you could throw on one more, what would it be?
What was the other? There was another superhero movie I had on my list at one moment. Deadpool 2.
I'm nervous about that.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't make my list.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a quick look ahead at what is coming soon, the weekend of February 16th. We have 3 movies that will be coming out. One of them is going to take everyone's money and walk away with it. That is Black Panther is finally coming to your local theaters. I'm really excited for that. The second one, Early Man, a movie about cavemen from the film company that brings us the Wallace and Gromit films, claymation style looking films. I usually enjoy most of those.
Same here.
They're usually really fun.
I think that's going to be a good weekend for us.
I hope so. And then lastly, Samson, movie about the legendary man Samson. Got his hair cut off, lost his powers. That's what I heard. Yeah. So those are the 3 movies that will be coming out that weekend. Before we leave you, though, we have to thank our sponsor. Thank you, Marcus Theaters, The Palace, for sponsoring this show. We do appreciate it. Mike is really looking forward to going and seeing some 50 Shades Freed this weekend in the Palace.
Yep.
Absolutely. If you want to find more from us, you can always find us on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/RealReviewsTV. Or if you're on Twitter and want to interact with us there, find us at RealReviewsTV. You can find a whole bunch of previous episodes. If you go to sunprairiemediacenter.com, there's an on-demand player where you can find 198 episodes on there. Mike, we are mere weeks away from hitting number 200.
That is crazy.
You can find us on YouTube as well by searching Real Reviews K-Sun, K-S-U-N. Next week we're going to be talking about 50 Shades Freed. We have 1517 to Paris, the new Clint Eastwood film, and we also have Peter Rabbit.
We're still mulling over what our throwback's going to be. It's going to be
got some
interesting how
ideas.
we're going to have it.
I like Harvey, the first thing he brought up. It's the one with the big rabbit.
Yeah.
I love it. But we stay tuned to find out what we do talk about for a throwback. Or if you have a choice for a throwback, you have a couple of days to get a hold of us on Facebook or Twitter. Let us know what you think would be a great throwback for those movies.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I would take any and all options. All right. Well,
just watch Harvey with a French subtitle.
Oh.
Yeah. There we go.
All right. Well, until next week when we talk about all of these films, my name is Jameson.
I'm Mike Roth.
Thanks for watching.